But on the battlefield, if you're fighting for the difference between 300 and, if I'm not mistaken, 120K,
yeah, that's right.
It's gotta matter, right? You really have to play your best. You gotta put your best foot forward.
For sure.
For sure. And as we wait for the...
What happened during MPL PH Season 8? Onic Philippines dominated the upper brackets. Blacklist was sent early on to the lower brackets. It seems like it can be repeat, or it might be revenge from Onic PH. Imagine if Onic PH just takes down Blacklist 4-0. The storylines are set. The expectations are set. It's time to get into the drafts.
Oh my God. Just the thought of it just makes me chill, right? If you said it will be a 4-0, I'm pretty sure that will not be the case, right? This is a very close matchup. But then again, if that is actually true, that will mean that the 0-13 coach from MPL Season 7 will end up in the world stage with a 13-0 in the upper bracket final, in the upper bracket of the World Championship. That is going to be crazy.
That is if it were to be the twist of the decade right now.
That will be the twist of the decade.
We're opening up MLBB Esports with the 2021 World Championships on a sweep. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not going to happen. Into the draft we go. Game number 1, Blacklist International on the play. Onic PH answering back. Hayabusa, Ling, and Selena taken out by Blacklist. Onic PH, they take out the Estes, the Aldous, and the Eve. Very, very quick responses.
And Blacklist International, knowing this team, it's either the Matrix or the Clint, or will they actually read through what Onic PH wants to have, which is almost always the Farsa. And knowing that both marksmen, both Matrix as well as Clint, they are countered by Farsa, maybe Blacklist International will actually secure that. So I'm only guessing like the free heroes here might be the choice for Blacklist International. It is indeed the Farsa.
Yeah, the Farsa is key to the victory here. Remember how many times this has been picked up. Imagine Blacklist right now, Haji still sitting at an 80% win rate with Haji on that Farsa. On the Philippines though, they have the chance to answer back. Delarski, will he go for that Yuzong? Remember, every time someone picks up a Farsa, the Yuzong is right there, ready to go. It is actually going to be the Matilda first, and Onic PH, do they want to go for the Esmeralda here or that Yuzong?
They still have the Paquito as well as one of their heroes that they really pick up against that, but it is true. Yeah, Yuzong, a hero that Delarski actually played. I'm not looking at Onic Philippines, actually, they're not the kind of team. And ooh, Hatred, okay.
I think
really
they're
pumped up.
They're already on their way. He's looking over to the other side, and they snuck away. They stole Bohem's Matrix.
But then again, you still have Clint, right? So, knowing Blacklist International, they will pick it up. They also have the Paquito, and now the Yisun Shin. Ooh, it's a totally different route this time.
Yisun Shin and the Rafaela coming in for the side of Blacklist International. I love this pick already. Yisun Shin has been a very good pick for this team's side. I think sitting still at a very high win rate, maybe possibly still 100% right now.
Yep, and the Yisun Shin is going to be key to
opening up the map.
Yes, and accomplishing one of their main keys to victory is not allowing the wraparound. You need that vision. You need the Mount Shocker.
Yep. Now, Onic Philippines, we know them as really assassin users. Definitely for Kyrie, you want to use something like a Lancelot for sure. And you know it's coming. And you know it's coming, and Mirko is really happy about this.
I am happy about this. You know, Lancelot, one of my favorite heroes in the game, especially when I see Kyrie or Albert playing it. And now we're going to get treated once more here. But we have to take a look. Right now, Onic Philippines, with the Lancelot pick, they take away that Phobius. Very, very good. You do not want to go up against that right now. Blacklist, though, they might just go for the Yuzong ban. Was about to say that, but now Onic Philippines, do they want to let that Paquito go? It has went through the first phase, but I don't think it's going to survive the second year, especially considering Onic Philippines, I think they're going to target Edward.
Yeah, they definitely will. Maybe they'll get something like a Uranus. Or the Clint. Yeah, that's true. The benefit of Onic PH is that they will have the last pick. However, this Matilda pick from Onic PH almost reveals their hand. And usually, you go for something like a Rafaela or a Natalia even, or a Selena pick for Baloyski, although the Selena is banned in this particular draft. What I'm trying to say is, you already know the Baloyski hero. And the Natalia, we're not going to see that at least in the first phase. Now, it's the Barrett's ban, making sure that this Lancelot will have a great game. Onic PH, as well as Blacklist International, seems to be targeting all of these X-Lane heroes.
Absolutely. Let's see. Blacklist International with the ban right now. What do they want to take away here? With the Barretts, that will actually signify to Onic Philippines, they might be open to pick the Paquito for themselves. Do Blacklist want to ban it out, or do they want to go for something else here? Let's say the Uranus ban.
Yeah, I think the Uranus would be good.
Or the Lapu-Lapu? Oh, they won't. Marquis Harith.
Yeah. I think Blacklist International are thinking that this Beatrix can be played in the mid lane as well. And Onic PH have actually played that for Hatred. And guess what? They used it 3 times. They have not lost with it.
Well, Onic Philippines, they have the chance to pick up the Paquito right now and taking it away from Edward, but no, they pick up the Esmeralda. Again, another very good hero right now that can counter that Matilda. So picking it up for Onic, it's good. Can dive the back line, can heal, and also very, very sustainable.
So you still have Brody and Clint for Onic, for Blacklist International, but you can also switch it around. Maybe pick up something like an Alice for themselves that they really love for OM, or maybe a Lunox so that they have ways to pierce through this Esmeralda. And Blacklist International are also considering this Uranus, a hero that is unfortunately not countered by the Esmeralda. In fact, some of the players would say that Uranus actually fares well with the Esmeralda.
On a macro sense, because if the Uranus isolates the Esmeralda, then you're winning on the map. The Uranus is basically a dud. The Uranus is a neutralizer. So let's see what Edward's going to be picking up here. They get OM's Clint, and oh, there it is! The dynamics, the relationship we just talked about. Blacklist, they want to counter, they want to neutralize and keep away Delarski on that Esmeralda. But one more pick. They need to give something to Marky here. What might it be?
Honestly, I'm really feeling that Lunox. I feel like the Lunox can bring a lot, especially considering that they are going up against a Uranus. They need some sort of burst here. And let's see what it is. No, they will go for Lilia. So I was right about the burst, not about the hero. Lilia picked up for Marky, adding a little bit more sustain as well.
Same for the Uranus. This is a squishy composition for the side of Blacklist International, and they don't have the best sustain as well, apart from the fact that Rafaela has heal. But of course, with the burst of the Lilia, it's almost impossible to out-sustain that. It's almost impossible to rely on your healings. That's probably why they picked it up. The question is, where will it go? Mid lane or gold lane?
Well, it is going to be the question here. Beatrix, very, very dominant laner. If he goes to the mid laner, will dominate that lane. Do they want to put this hero to suffocate the Clint, or just to get that mid pressure so that they can make the split happen in the early stages of the game? That is going to be the question that we need to see answered here in the game.
Between these two teams, it's Onic who actually likes winning early, and Blacklist who's willing to trade that early game. But ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get into the match. Game number 1 upon us. These are the lineups. This is Blacklist International versus Onic PH. Game 1 in a best of 7 for the World Championship.
I want to hear it. I want to see it. Break the code, or what time is it? Onic time. But unfortunately, we are going to take a look at the drafts a little bit more. Let's talk about it even more here. I think I'm going to start it off with Blacklist draft, all right? For Blacklist draft itself, it is the typical Ube, I can kind of say, but a little bit different. It's refined here, all right? Because they have the winning side lanes with the Clint. They can get that pressure as well with Edward on that Uranus, but their core mechanic is still going to be that front to back. That's what's going to make them win these games.
So the thing that I see coming up from the side of Blacklist International is that they don't have the hard engage we normally see with Haji, for example, in the Grok or maybe on the Cho. There's really not a way to start the fight unless they do it with the Holy Baptism, right?
Yep, they can only get these catches. They don't have any real call as to where the fights happen. They have no way to pin down anybody from Onic.
And if you're looking at Onic Philippines, they can rely on this Matilda to start the fights with them. Curious to see which is the mid laner or the gold laner. Actually, I wasn't able to catch it because it was just a quick glimpse when we paused, but my guess is that they will put the Lilia against this Clint in the gold lane so that they will have a great lane, as Clint is generally a hero that will be a 50-50 matchup against the Beatrix.
The side of Clint, it's a trade kind of hero, right? You don't really want to go for these all-ins early on, and same goes for the Lilia. It's going to be really good. Lilia and Clint, this matchup will be heavily favored towards the side of Lilia because of the wave clear and that trade pressure.
Which means you're going to have Oh My Venus visit Clint. We've seen Oeb do this. We've seen him like breeze through the first 5 or 6 minutes, and then next thing you know, he's just chipping away at turrets.
Absolutely. So that's going to be the question here. What do Onic Philippines want to respond that with, right? Blacklist, they are going to put Venus on that gold lane, just basically babysitting as usual for the Filipino sniper. But for Onic PH, they have a lot of options here. They can go and try to do the same thing, help out Marky, or they can go to the bottom side as well, help out Delarski on the Esmeralda. Again, it's a winning lane going up against a Uranus, all right? Uranus won't be able to do anything until he hits that level 4. And even then, it's going to be very easy for them to look for dives with the Lancelot and the Matilda Matilda.
Maybe if they can abuse that, that will be great because eventually the Uranus will have a better time macro-wise. Then again, for the side of Onic Philippines, they want to engage. They can use the Falling Star Moon eventually in the mid-game as well as the late game. And then, of course, rely on their wave clear for all of those split pushing or for macro mechanics coming up from the side of Onic Philippines. So this is a very interesting dynamic. Both teams having straight up win conditions, and I think that this is the time where you say it's definitely a 50-50 between these two teams.
It's a spike. They have to be aware of that level 4 spike on the side of Onic PH, but then Blacklist answers back with a more defensive role because that's when the Mountain Shocker comes in. That's when they actually have their disengage tools come online, so they can do that neutralization. They can do the isolation play. So yeah, it's all about timing. Onic time, they definitely want to snowball. Blacklist, let's see how they're going to answer back. Here we go, back into the map.
All right, I gotta say this though. Onic, they have just been that catchphrase, that the tag is so catchy, man.
Yeah, I agree.
What time is this? Onic time. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a watch sponsor later on for MPL Season 9.
Makes me wonder though, as we first saw that with the opening, right? But Baloyski, just some pokes coming out in the mid lane, and we know that Rafael as well as Varsity is so strong when it comes to like poking.
Just as we said it, man.
We were talking about this, the Lilia winning that lane matchup. First Blood brought to you by Razor. Wolf, you were saying?
Wow, yeah, it's just all about the pokes, but in top lane, they already have the big poke coming out, but Dilarski.
Oh, a little too deep. Again, it's both teams playing off of different timings. They know that that was the original plan, so they're playing off of their pace. Tempo going over here to Onic PH, but by a very small margin. Oh, my Venus looking low. Kyrie gets hit. Oh, he's going to be dashed through with a puncture. Pinned down with that Bolas, and there you go. Thorn Rose keeping him in.
Again, Onic Philippines now with the winning lanes, it's going to be really good for them to look for plays on the map, and this is exactly what they need to keep on doing. Look at Dilarski. He's basically taking all the resources, trying to force Wise to be uncomfortable in his own jungle, and Onic Philippines, they can look for a fight here. Even though Kyrie has lost a lot of HP, they still have the resources, and there you go. Blacklist, they can't contest without the winning lanes.
Yep, 4 members here. Oh, up top, another one! Marky gives away his second death in 2 minutes.
This is insane. We spoke about this matchup, but I didn't expect it to be 2 solo kills in the first 2 minutes, man. This is going to be really good. Onic Philippines are just going to have to capitalize to this constantly, but Blacklist, they need an answer quick.
No, they're making Oh My Venus very busy. It's like a very hectic day for Oh My Venus as he needed to kind of answer to the turtle fight, which wasn't really reset by Onic Philippines. And then because of that movement, he didn't have the time to actually help Oheb, and there goes the second kill from Marky into the top lane.
Edward gonna spot him out. Retribution on Kyrie, on point, taking this one. Turtles lane brought to you by the STB. You boys are right. They're gonna try to overload the Queen, and just because of their sheer mechanics and the damage they're putting on so early, 3 minutes in, they're ahead now by 1K. Let's look at the items.
Well, it's just building up now, and Marky getting the Enchanted Talisman before the 3-minute mark. That is crazy. And to think that he didn't even have the Mystery Shop. This is such a good scaling hero. Even when it's a mage, it will put up some damage in the late game. Great wave clear, and with the Enchanted Talisman, he's going to just spam out all of his skills up top, make sure that Oheb will not have a good time in the early stages of the game.
The thing is, right now, I feel like Onic, yes, you said it, overloading the Queen, but they're not just overloading the Queen, they're overloading every single member from the side of Blacklist except for Haji. Wise having trouble in that jungle. Venus going everywhere on the map, forcing something, and even in the 2v1, it's going to be Marky winning out in these trades. This is not good for the side of Blacklist, but again, it is that 7-minute mark that is all about that ultimate bonding experience, right? When Blacklist gets that power spike, that's when they start to roll again. But they need to be able to stay consistent in the early stages. It won't matter that 7 minutes, yes, it's a power spike, but if Onic Philippines can just get the huge lead, it won't go to Blacklist at all.
Baloyski got them Spirit Blooms. He's lethal. He feels it. Going cut back through the jungle. Haji. It's interesting how much Onic PH has rotated and how every time Blacks International might have been a second or two too late, which resulted in this small lead. 20 seconds to the next turtle. Edward getting pinned here by Dilarski and Kyrie falling Star Moon onto that wave. This is a very low kill score game compared to a lot of what we've seen in the playoffs. Right now, look at this. 3 onto Edward. He's looking for refuge. Oh, he's gonna let go of this turret down here. Oh, up top! Marky gets blasted by Haji, maximum range. He's fine.
He's fine. He was able to clear the waves as well, but Oh My Venus will go for the reset.
This is the Onic Philippines special. The banana split once again coming into game number 1. Look at how they're playing the map. They have all these winning lanes. It's going to be hard. Even though Blacklist goes up, Marky, that is why they picked up the Lilia instead of the Lunox. So powerful.
Yep, they didn't need the spike. Here we go. Second turtle up already. Edward putting a few stacks onto the 3 members here. Kyrie dashing on through the wall. He's just moving around. There's a better air strike. Still Kyrie on point. Getting the second turtle of the game while Hatred puts up a lead wall.
Did you see how Kyrie just danced through it, just used the reset, the factor coming out from both the puncture as well as the Phantom Execution, even using the Thorn Rose as an iframe source so that he will not be hit by some of the skill shots of Blacklist International. It's amazing to watch, and they also secured the turtle for that, and Onic PH really just taking over the map in the first 5 minutes of the game.
That's why they call him the future man, Onic Philippines right now. Just forcing their gameplay onto Blacklist. 2 more minutes, technically 1 more minute right now to that power spike for the ultimate bonding experience. But at this point, I don't feel like they're going to be able to do anything with that. Onic Philippines, they can just continually, basically stop the fights from happening based on the pressure they have on the side lanes.
Slowly something tells me Blacklist may have found the Achilles heel. Maybe by attacking mid, they can actually bear down onto Hatred, but might not be as easy a plan because of how much bottom lane was opened up by Dilarski. But look, there's movements up here. They're waiting. Oh My Venus finds Marky. Circling Eagle. Oh, bye, Baloyski. They let go underneath the turret. They're pinning down Oe, but Oh My Venus. Look at Kyrie from the back. Gets stunned by the Holy Baptism. Forward flicker by Hatred. Takes down Oheb. There's another fight down bottom. Dilarski taken down by Wise. It's a 1-for-1 trade across the map.
It is, but what we gotta take a look at is the side of Onic Philippines. The way they get the kills is they translate it to instant objectives, whereas Blacklist, they're struggling to keep up in the objective side of the game. Onic Philippines, yes, 3-1. The kill board isn't that much, but look at the turrets. 2 turrets, 2 turtles. This is why Onic Philippines have been able to dominate that gold lane, the pure control of the objectives in the game.
And it's crazy to think that Onic PH, after, Marky really dancing with it. Yeah, it's crazy to think that Onic Philippines, after getting a kill up top, they put both Hatred as well as Baloyski back to the mid lane because there was a fresh kill of that and they defended.
Oh wait, Marky may have bitten off more than he could chew. Edward with the flicker forward Ionic edge. Hatred punishes him almost immediately, circling Eagle on the Oheb. Not enough damage, brings it down. Kyrie puncturing on through. He's lashing, he's dashing. Kills him with the Phantom Execution. Down goes the Filipino sniper.
It looked like it was going to be bad for Kyrie when he missed that Thorn Rose. On the bottom side, Wise picks up a kill, and they are getting some kills on the board. But again, these turrets are going to be crucial. Look at the map. All the tier 1s taken down. Only a 2-kill lead for Onic, but look at the goal. 2,000 already.
Oh my goodness. And looking at Onic PH, it kind of feels like they're really putting into heart this win condition of shutting down OF. 0-4-1 on the Filipino sniper as Onic Philippines have taken over this gold lane and might be looking to control this turtle as well.
Oh, charge out of the Soul Blooms. There's the Phantom Execution still kept in check by Kyrie. It's off of cooldown. They'll put up a wall here. Real damage! And there's the Black Shoes. Marky does not want to bite off more than he could chew. They're blasting Edward. All 3 turtles so far taken by Onic.
Ooh, did you see that tag team coming out from Onic PH? They poked Oh My Venus, and that's great, right? Because Onic Philippines, if they poke Blacklist International, they have to go back. And then afterwards, Marky eventually gets there, again forcing skills out of Oh My Venus. That flicker as well as the Holy Baptism, not available in a turtle fight, meant that it's free for Onic PH.
But look at that, Wolf. Actually, Kyrie, he didn't go for the, he went for the OR axe, and instantly, guess what the second item is? It's a Hunter Strike for this Lancelot. Very, very interesting build coming in for Kyrie. That is a snowballing build. He wants to keep it rolling. He wants the kills to keep on coming.
He wants to make like their mascot. He wants to go fast.
Well, he wants to go. It might be that he is rushing.
Gets caught. Kyrie stunned. Maybe a little too much. Phantom Execution. Iframes on point. The Kyrie killer Kyrie survives.
My goodness. The last time I saw the Hunter Strike was, correct me if I'm wrong, Albert actually played it, Mirko, and
he played that on Paquito though.
That is, of course, that's one of the builds. But yeah, I did see the Hunter Strike on the Lancelot, but it is true. It's dependent on snowballing. And so far, Onic PH, they're on track for the snowballs. In fact, But this lead, 2.6k, they should not be comfortable with this because if you're looking at Blacklist International, there's decent defense on them. through this Farsa as well as this Clint.
Mountain Shocker set up. Blacklist International aware of everyone, and that's going to be Wise. Putting a few beads onto Baloyski. Up top, Edward getting blasted by Hatred. And in comes Kyrie. Hatred secures a kill.
Yeah, again, Onic Philippines is so good at splitting up the map, but at this point, look, they are stopping their game. Blacklist, even though you're looking at the kills, yes, it is still favoring Onic Philippines. They are still the ones with map pressure. But look, that is when Blacklist start to come free here. When those tier 1 turrets get taken down, a lot of teams struggle to get the tier 2s because of how good Blacklist International basically manipulate these waves, go for the team fights, and secure the vision in their own jungle. Usually when tier 1s are taken down, that's when the opposing team can just push in your jungle. But Blacklist, they know how to do this. They know how to open up the map very, very well. And this is exactly what you're seeing from them.
Well, just make sure Onic PH don't give up your mid lane turret. That's having their focus. And just Kyrie just baiting through Blacklist International. But then again, it still is very difficult for Onic PH to kind of push, because if you're looking at their composition, only Hatred can actually hit turrets. Apart from that, they need to go melee against all these turrets.
Baloyski enters a lethal death push, gets caught by a holy baptism. Kyrie dashing on through. He's used his puncture. His Spider-Man blasts Wise. Haji answers back with a feathered airstrike, taking one out on the way. Oheb trading out via Baloyski 1-for-1 so far. Both teams disengaged.
That's going to be very worth it for the side of Onic PH. They got the jungler for the roamer. And one thing I wanted to touch on this before that fight came up. It's going to be really easy for Onic PH in these team fights. Why? Because all they need to do is target Wise, all right? Wise is the only one with kills on the board. It's time to take a look at the replay and look at what they do. Exactly that, targeting only Wise in these team fights.
And you gotta have to look at Haji, the way he used the flicker to get out of the zone of Kyrie. And then Kyrie also trying to outplay Haji with the Thorn Rose to dodge some of the feathered airstrike, then gets out of the zone of the feathered airstrike. Such mechanics from, former, I would say, the rivals in the jungler role.
Man, again, you see from the kills, 5 total kills for Blacklist, 3 of them picked up by Wise, all right? So this is going to be the fact of the matter. Onic Philippines, all they need to do is shut Wise down. Oheb is so behind, he basically does no damage at this point.
I was about to bring that up. This whole time, we've left Oheb for what, 5 minutes now? I'm guessing his items must be in point, must have caught up, but Onic PH, they have a different plan. They're starting up this Lord already. Edward trying to get a visual. Oh my Venus, poising up. This wall here, this bush is dangerous. In goes Marky, eats a few rolls.
Kyrie,
of the back line. Wise taking down again. Baloyski did it out. Kyrie falls, and they're still going. They're still deep in. Delarski dancing around Oheb, and that's going to be Edward flickering on out. They're not done. Oheb, he smells blood. He wants to take down Hatred, and they're far too deep in. They disengage. That was an interesting 2-for-2.
What a great 2-for-2. I mean, we know that Blacklist International excels in these kind of clashes, as they really have mastered this Lord fight, and that is what we saw in their series against BTK. They have really bodied BTK in these Lord fights, and so far it has been good. And Onic, interesting decision to actually go for heroes instead of focusing on the Lord after them starting the Lord themselves.
We need to talk about the win conditions coming in for both of the teams. Onic PH, look at their heroes. They are ability-based heroes. They are one and done, all right? They're a hit-and-run composition, whereas Blacklist, they want these fights to go a long distance, maybe all the way to that final moment. Look at their heroes, 2 marksmen and Farsa. These are continuous abilities, continuous basic attacks coming in, they always, you know? So Onic, what they want to do is go for the hard engage to the back line, destroy that back line, and back away, instantly go for the objective, whereas Blacklist, they want to keep on fighting.
Haji's been so good with this hero.
Oh, there we go. They're going to come in. They find one. Edward gets jumped on, circling eagle. And the jump in by Delarski. That's going to be the passion. And the holy healing, saving the rest of Blacklist International. Edward's not done. He wants more. They know that they're going for the Lord. Both teams, they know that they have to do this very, very quickly. Edward putting a few stacks into the back. They take down Oheb. Kyrie gets a dash in. Trading out for Baloyski. That's a win for Onic. Mountain Shocker making sure that it's safe to disengage. Kyrie still pressuring Edward, and it's a clean go. That's Blacklist back on the map, taking a mid lane tier 1.
Remember what I said, prolonged fights is gonna favor Blacklist International. Onic PH, with this composition, they need to go for the hard lockdown. If not, Blacklist, look what they're able to do. They get 2 turrets off of a fight that was 1-for-1.
Amazing, amazing recovery coming up from Blacklist International, as they did lose an important hero, and that's Oheb. However, with just the decision-making coming up from Blacklist International was just really good. And they disengaged against Onic PH, healed himself up, get away from the zone of those dominant sides, those anti-heals coming out from Onic PH, then fight again. And it really looked wonderful for Blacklist International. They want to go for top though.
Oh, Kyrie just at the nick of time. Phantom Execution out. Mountain Shocker, he's not out of the woods just yet. Oh, Blacklist International, they've built up the confidence. I think they're ready. A very, very small gold lead. 800, you can say. That's Blacklist International starting up the Lord. Edward drawing a perimeter. The Enforcer, the Muscle, keeping all the other members of Onic PH down. Oh, Boloyski put down to his lowest and taken down by Wise. That's a one-man advantage for the side of Blacklist. Haji popping the feathered airstrike. Looking low. Marky as well, flickering on out. No more black shoes here. Oh, they go in. Edward slain right before he can take out Marky. That's 1 for 1 so far. Hatred getting blasted here, and there's an Abir's Passion. Wise coming up for the re-engage. That's a jump back. Haji, he's gonna look for one, blasting him. There's a feather airstrike to the face. Wise secures the kill. It's a 1 for 3 so far, and they take the Lord.
Oh my God, Onic Philippines, they were so disconnected in that, and the punishment was there for Blacklist International. And unfortunately, Kyrie went for the wraparound, did not hit the Phantom Execution onto Haji. That's why Haji was able to just run away and punish him for his transgressions. And Onic PH have lost so much of their lead. Blacklist International taking the Enhanced Lord, meaning to say they now have map control.
This is the refined Blacklist that we were all talking about back in the BTK matchup. Blacklist, look at how well they're able to play. Onic Philippines for the first few minutes were the ones pushing their playstyle onto Blacklist, but they did not crack. They waited up until that Ube strat could work. It didn't work in the 7 minutes because they were so behind, but now look at these items, look at these heroes. They finally scaled up through the farming on the cross-map plays, and they are the ones pushing Onic Philippines to play their way. They have nowhere to go at this point. They can only follow Blacklist tempo.
I put a name to this when we saw it happen against BTK. It was called the rubber banding effect. Blacklist was rubber banding, and they were just waiting, and now this is their game to lose. Look at this, Luminous Lord marching down through bottom. They are setting it up, feathered airstrike, blasted on the 4 members of Onic PH, and they're gonna take that inhibitor down bottom. Look at the discipline, catching one. Dilarski with the Holy Baptism. Mid's gonna get taken down as well. Oheb takes it, the Filipino sniper. Pew pew!
This is going to be insane right now. Look, the 2,000 goalie for Onic Philippines, it felt like it didn't even exist at this point. 4,000 for Blacklist. They're cracking in the base.
Look at this calculated assault. Wise coming in, threatening the passive tick onto Marky, and they're still here. They are not letting go. They know that there's ults on the side of Blacklist International, and they give full respect. Mountain Shocker keeping him in place. They might try to look for a kill here onto Dilarski. He's low, down to a third of his health. Circling eagle by Boloyski into the back line. He's going to get punished. Kyrie. Immortality. Looking for Kyrie, he's looking for heads. There's a feathered airstrike. Wise goes down. 2 go down, 1 for 1 so far. And Dilarski jumping on. That's going to be another one taken down. Haji from Boloyski. And it's Edward. He's running. He's buying time. Here comes Oheb. And Oh My Venus going to go for the fire back. That's Marky catching a bullet. Boloyski, he's still going to go down. The Filipino sniper gets ahead. Marky pops the black shoes. He's okay. 3-on-3 still inside Onic PH's base.
This is insane. The prolonged fights once again with Oheb just standing in that back line. And look how this fight is going to go again.
Oh, they're still going. Holy Baptism catches Dilarski, and he's still dancing around, giving him shields and taking down the Queen. Popping Immortality and the Nibiru's Passion. Point blank, Marky secures the kill. Edward and Oheb may have overstayed their welcome. They disengage. There's a heal from Edward. He's still pushing his luck. He's still going. Dilarski gonna dance around. Both of them still have immortalities. We get a reset.
18 minutes in, and what a game do we have on our hands. Look at the scoreboard. Dead even, 13-14. 2,000 gold lead though for the side of Blacklist. Now what Onic needs to do is, again, target that back line. It's very easy to say. It's very hard to do considering the front line and the peel from the side of Blacklist. Look at the items right now. What can you see?
Oh, well, I can see that there is Wind of Truncheon on the side of Hatred, and a freshly picked up Wind of Nature for both Wise and Hatred. This was fresh off Wise, and this is perfect against Hatred as well as Kyrie. As we can see that Kyrie really would like to go for Wise all the time.
Goes in, circling eagle on to Wise. A false engage. Dilarski goes back with the Falling Star Moon. Edward pushing them back.
Oh, this is Onic PH, I wonder why they popped that. Maybe they're just threatening for kills as Kyrie is just waiting for farm onto the other side of the map. But Blacklist International, they do have the advantage of all of the minions just pressing against Onic PH without the inhibitor turret.
At this point of the game, Onic Philippines, they need to micromanage so many things, you know? 3 lanes, basically constantly going to be pushing in with those super minions activated from those inhibitors, as now Lord spawns by TikTok Live. How are they going to contest for this? Blacklist, they are better in the prolonged fights, in the poke division as well. Onic will need to pull out some crazy fights, maybe even some miracle plays to be able to make that happen.
Miracle plays. We'll see if Onic PH is known for that, but Blacklist International, they're so composed.
Circling Eagle onto 1. They might get it off of this odd entry by Edward, but they're not going to let that happen, not so easily. Mountain Shocker, you always have to remember, Blacklist International has that one tool to know exactly where everyone is, so the wraparound, that isolated catch, not so easy.
Again, Onic Philippines forcing these out, you know, like you said, this is what they do, and literally right now, 20 minutes in, they need to keep on forcing this because look at the build-ups in the waves. From the bottom side, Marky, oh my god.
Marky, Mountain Shocker, everything is a threat here right now. The range game on Blacklist International is huge as they take the Lord in the blink of an eye. Onic, no time to respond. Delarski gets the Immortality Bomb. Circling Eagle by Beloisi, keeping Edward in check. Down goes the Esmeralda. Wise takes the kill. And right now, even Hatred suffers a death. Down goes the Beatrix. The Filipino sniper gets one. Kyrie falls as well. It's only Marky left. The Lord and Blacklist marching into their base. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves game number 1. Marky goes. Blacklist takes it 1-0.
Again, the Lord fight. I think that this game will go for either Haji or Edward. Edward was able to just make sure that Onic PH is in check and they know where they are. They don't even need to pop the Mountain Shocker to know where the members of Onic PH are. It's just that Edward is keeping tabs of it, and Haji, this guy smiling because I would say he carried this game. The way he uses his ultimate just to disrupt and maybe burst the squishy members of Onic PH was just phenomenal.
It's the simple plays that come in for Blacklist International that really makes the difference here. You don't need flashy plays. All you need to do is stick to that textbook. They know their win conditions entirely. When the draft was set, they knew what we had to do. First 5 minutes, never gonna go our way. If we try to force the tempo, we're gonna lose. Sure, I'll just keep on farming. Wise, he was disrupted so many times in the jungle. Didn't let that get into his head. He stayed composed. He waited for the time. When he got those item power spikes, you can see the level that he brought onto these team fights. They were able to force every single one, and the name of the game for game 1 is forced errors. Blacklist, with that pressure, with the tempo shifting over, they were able to push it through Onic PH.
It's the Blacklist rubber band scoring them the first victory in game number 1. Let's throw it over to our analysts, Gideon Q and LaFell. Break it down.
Thanks so much, Leo. Appreciate it as always. But back here at the analyst stand with the 2 smartest here once again. LaFell, we have to talk about this a little bit more because, again, even though it is going to be an all-Filipino finals, there still are mistakes being made here.
Yeah, but first we have to look at a few things. Number 1 is the draft. Coming from the side of Onic Philippines, they are a little bit faster because they are more focused on the early game tempo. However, moving later stages of the game, once we have 4 items, then it's time for Blacklist International to really control the map. And then speaking of mistakes, Onic Philippines, there were a lot of engages that was actually countered by the side of Blacklist International just being a little bit better in terms of timing on how they capitalize on the engages coming in from Onic.
But that's the thing, right, LaFell? When you have such a complicated overall draft where your win conditions are mainly to be playing for this early game, we see time and time again, it feels like Blacklist is able to kind of hold them back. But what we cannot hold back, we can't stop talking about the Razer Hammerheads here. Guys, if you haven't heard about it, you got to cop one for yourself because the Razer Hammerhead True Wireless are cutting-edge earbuds destined to dominate the sound stage. Designed to dazzle in a blaze of RGB glory, the Hammerhead is decked out with active noise-canceling 60 ms low-latency gaming mode for an audio experience never seen or heard before. Head on over to Razer.com to learn a little bit more about it and make sure you get your pair today. Now, coming back to this once more, simplification compared to overcomplicating things, I feel like generally it feels like on brand. Like everybody got their comfort picks for either side of the teams.
Not just comfort picks, but also how they play the game, because we have to remember that Onic Philippines, they like to play the macro game. They like to move around the map. Where from the side of Blacklist, they like to move in together because they play the team fight game much better. And if we saw in terms of how they play in the highlights, look at how much damage they were able to juggle around together. And right now, again, we're gonna look at the draft coming in. This is the more important part: is that Marky, Hatred, as well as Kyrie, the heroes that they've been using, our casters were asking about the Hunt Strike, and again, this is just the way that they play. They want to be a little bit faster, they want to catch Blacklist off guard, but they missed time in terms of taking the objectives. They should have been a little bit faster because Beatrix mid, clear the lane fast, move on. Marky wins the lane, clear the lane fast, move on. Same thing with Kyrie, but again, Blacklist, they were able to slow it down, mostly because Uranus as well as Farsa.
Yeah, Edward just doing a really good job at kind of just buffering, sandbagging in the lanes, as people like to call it. But most importantly, I think Haji not only was playing for the macro sense, some of his plays have really caught some of the members from Onic PH side off guard, getting a lot of free kills.
Yeah, and especially because of that Winter Truncheon. A lot of times you see that Kyrie trying to dive to the backline, try to kill him off, but once he has that Winter Truncheon, then he's going to be sitting there for quite a while, and the rest of Blacklist International, they can just focus him down. And another point of contention is Oheb. In the early game, he was focused, but mid-stage and late stages of the game, he was basically untouched, being able to dish a lot of damage. Speaking of damage, Oheb dealt the most, 107,000.
Yeah, and despite having a start of 1-4 and one really rough laning phase, I totally get where you're coming from here. But overall, when we're looking to damage the towers, Blacklist is going to be taking the cake. Even though we're looking at the score of 18-14, a lot of these fights have been quite 50-50.
50-50 in mid-game. Later stages in the game, then it becomes a whole lot different. On the Philippines, when they were playing inside their own base, the only way that they can really cover is because of Lilia covering, like destroying the minions and such. But coming into the late game, then Blacklist, they have this, in the bag, because they have a lot of scale in their composition, and that is why it's great. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It really is crazy. And I think for the most part of it, let's keep in mind that the compositions had two very clear ideas. But it's time to announce our MVP of this game, giving it over to Oheb, despite having one of the hardest starts possible, able to bring it back for his team with a 5-5-10 KDA, 83% KP.
Yeah, honestly, being able to play from behind, that's amazing, because playing from ahead, that's super easy. It's like, yeah, I have the goal lead, I have the EXP lead, I will deal more damage. But from behind, having to find your own farm and making sure that you are super strong in the late game, and again, dealing the most damage, over 100,000 damage. Oheb doing a lot for his team, but again, this is the clash of styles. On the Philippines, they play good, they play very well. It's just that they didn't push it fast enough.
That's the thing. I don't know about you, but personally, that's why I'm leaning more to Blacklist overall, to be able to kind of over-encompass and, more importantly, simplify their style to make sure that they punish on it.
Yeah, again, we have to see who controls the tempo, because honestly, throughout M3, that is the most common word that we've been using. Who can control the tempo better, then they will actually dictate how the pace is being made, and then they will win.
Who are you supporting here this time around, LaFell?
I'm still looking at Onic because, again, they played it well, and I feel like this is just one of those situations where they can understand where the problem lies, and then they can recover from it.
I get you, because I'm supporting Blacklist this time around, and who are you at home going to be supporting? Because with the M3 battle emotes still up for sale, you can cop one today and flex in-game all your support for your favorite teams here, especially for the Filipinos out there. I don't know why you wouldn't want to get one, because again, we've prepared some exclusive battle emotes for all 16 teams, and with each battle emote, it has their own voiceover, so get them now and support your favorite teams while you still can. I don't want people to regret and be like, ah, man, I should have got it earlier, even though I just turned into a fan. Just save yourself the time, save yourself the effort, get it now while you still can, and most importantly, between the both of us, we'll see. We'll see how Game 2 is going to go. Let's throw it over to our casters at the desk to see how Game 2 is going to play out. Leo, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Gideon, Q, and LaFell, explaining exactly what happened in game number 1 and awarding our MVP, Oheb. Welcome back to the desk. My name is Leo, at your service, joined by Wolf and Mirko. Gentlemen, that went the distance. I mean, we hit TikTok timers.
Yep.
There were some outs for both teams, but eventually Blacklist found the W.
Yeah, we could see that the start was really good for the side of Onic PH. They have this early game composition courtesy of the Lancelot, led by the Lancelot, which was the Lilia, and then of course that mid lane Beatrix. Naturally, these heroes don't scale as much. That's why in the latter portions of the game, we see that the Clint as well as the Yi Shen just trumped over that, and we could see this dynamic between both Esmeralda and Uranus. Uranus being the better positional tool and better macro tool in the late game, which almost always trumps the initiation coming out from Esmeralda.
Well put. I mean, besides Oheb's Clint, I'd say that Uranus on Edward would have been a great MVP as well. And you at home can be the MVP of both skill and style with the Frank debit card. Out of over 60 designs, pick the one that screams your personality or your dreams. Once more, thank you to Frank by OCBC. Mirko, let's look back around and throw it over to Onic this time around. How do they come back from this? It was a well-fought match. It slipped right from their grasp.
Honestly, at this point, the thing is, yes, Onic Philippines, they made a few mistakes in that game, but it was all because Blacklist played a perfect one. They forced these mistakes to happen onto Onic Philippines. What Onic needs to do is possibly get more aggressive, because the time that they spent going for all that setup for the tier 1s, it was perfect. But after that, they kind of fell flat. They didn't want to engage. They didn't want to risk their gold in, and that's where they fell, all right? If you don't risk anything, you're not going to get anywhere in this game. You need to be able to invade the jungle, take away some of the resources, and force-wise, once again, to just not be a threat here. As long as he doesn't get farmed, that's all you need. Or when he uses Retribution so that you can set up for the Lord.
Maybe we're actually giving Onic a little too much to work with. There might be too many duties because 1, yeah, watch Edward. 2, watch Uranus, watch that offlaner, watch Wise. 3, watch Oheb, but also I think we have folks watching over Miwatch. What's up? You guys have been with us since the 6th of December. Now is the last day. We're about to crown another champion. By watching, you can win various in-game rewards, and of course, thank you so much again for joining us. What are you waiting for? Switch on over to Miwatch and check us out as we duke out between 2 Filipino teams vying for that back-to-back championships. We were saying, maybe be a little more bold. Is that exactly what might have not worked out for Onic?
It is easy to say because of the fact that they have Lancelot as well as the Matilda, right? But then again, if you're looking at how Blacklist played it, they made sure that in the mid-game where it all mattered, that they weren't forced as much. And I think that you can also give it to how Haji played it. He was able to punish the positioning on the side of Onic PH and become a nuisance. Not only that, he also baited so much coming out from Onic PH. I think that from minute 7 up until the last minute of the game, it was Blacklist International just turning it up and flipping the switch to bait mode because they were just luring Onic PH to their position, to their part of the map, and then they reset, right? You saw that so many times. When somebody gets jumped by Baloyski, all of them together, as if they're controlled by a hive mind, just go back to their own base, and when Baloyski's already out of position, that's where they peel. And then it took so many tries for Onic PH only to make it to the point where their mistake was so bad that it gave the Lord to the side of Blacklist International.
And that was a turning point. That one huge objective turned the tides.
We need to take a look at their mentality as well here, all right? Because this is going to be the first loss outside of the group stage, all right? Based in the playoffs. This is the first loss that Onic Philippines have. You know, this is insane, actually. Now
Their
that I think about it.
second loss throughout the whole World
tournament.
Championship.
Exactly. Game loss, by the way. So, again, this mentality-wise, how is it going to affect them? I did meet Baloyski just now in the restroom. He seemed pretty okay. He seemed really... Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Onic Philippine crew right now, they are all smiles, all right? So I really like that about them. They're chill. And we need to see more of that right now for the side of Onic PH. They need to stay composed. And what is most important is they need to understand their win conditions. Push in when they have the gold lead. Don't be scared. They're playing that game not to lose, you know? They didn't go for the win. They were just playing not to lose.
Yep. I also saw on the way to what we did during the break, Mirko as well as Leo. I see Kyrie actually stayed in a stage. I think that him and
Your team
Coach
is
Yeb we're actually discussing something maybe about because I think I see him like warming up once again. Maybe he wants to play that Lancelot once again. Onic PH just
Maybe that's why.
Shin, as well as the Yu Zhong. Straight up, answer this Farsa. It was a problem in game 1, and now they have been trying to solve it.
Exactly. This is what I like from Onic PH. This is what I said should have happened in game number 1. All right, aside from the Yisun Shin, all right, maybe that's why he stayed on stage. He was like, Coach, you put me on these high mechanical heroes, I can play Yisun Shin as well, all right? So, Yu Zhong, this is going to be the name of the game right now. Haji was one of the main contributing factors to the victory that Blacklist was able to get. Now with the Yu Zhong, it is going to make it much harder for this Farsa to be a factor in this team fight.
Yep, I really like these 2 picks from Onic as well. 1, throwing back to the Yisun Shin wallbang by Kairi from earlier in the playoffs. That was amazing. And number 2, just the way Dilarski plays this Yu Zhong, not only in the world stage, but even back in MPL Philippines Season 8. He would just draw lines across the map, man. He would say where you can and can't go, and it answers that Farsa so well.
Yeah, loving the Barrett's pick for Blacklist International. Was banned out by Onic PH, one of their go-to heroes for both Edward as well as Wise. It's a flex pick as well. One thing that we can expect from Blacklist International is that this Farsa as well as Rafaela will be the mid-lane duo for Blacklist International. And let's see how Onic PH will actually answer this. Lancelot will not be picked up anymore, as the Yisun Shin is the jungler of choice for Onic PH, which means that Onic PH might go full macro once again. Maybe they want to go back to these wave clear heroes like Lilia, for example, but played in the mid lane.
Your team is banning.
Coach Ducky, all right. Onic Philippines, though, now with the Natan pickup as well. Now, look at these picks for the side of Onic PH. They might just be targeting Oheb here, all right? Beatrix and Clint has been left open here in the first phase. I think this is the first time in a very long time.
I guess they're more confident this time around because they have the Yu Zhong. So far, Lolita has been snubbed in this series, which has been the flavor of the tournament thus far. And the fact that they're leaving these open means maybe they have the clear answer. And you're looking at it right here. It's that dragon. It's the Yu Zhong. Onic PH takes out the Brody. I'm guessing maybe this other one might be another targeted ban, and then they go from there.
Yep, with the Brody as well as the Clint, the considerations for bans from Onic PH, but knowing Blacklist International, they can still go back to something like an Alice. Although Blacklist International, that is definitely one of the heroes to play on OE, but not really the best choice. Now, this is what I like from, this is what I actually expected from Onic PH to do. Last pick the Baloyski hero, or maybe second phase pick that hero. That Matilda, as good as it is, it's one of those best heroes, right? But you can't do that against Blacklist International. These playmakers from the role should not be countered by Blacklist International, because you can see we're baited by that Matilda.
And looking at it from a macro standpoint, maybe game 1, Onic PH was too honest. Maybe they revealed their cards too soon, and Blacklist, even from the blue side, was able to draft around it. Looking at this last ban by Onic, of course, it's going to be the Phoveus. Gotta respect that hero on Edward.
Beatrix is still available, so is Clint. They buy both Joe as well as this Natalia. The 3 heroes that gave this Onic PH his unbeatable campaign in the upper bracket, now banned out by Blacklist International. Are we looking for another Lilia pick? They still go back to the Matilda.
But maybe it's better this time around.
Yes. Woo. That's what I was gonna go for here right now. Matilda. Now that you have the Yu Zhong that can dive, the Yisun Shin that can dive and kite away, it is gonna be really good for the Matilda, adding again some sort of disengage, some sort of engage. This is a complete hero, right? When we're talking about Matilda, she can do it all. But let's see, Blacklist, they have the chance to pick up either a Beatrix or a Clint, and also the jungler. What jungler do they want to go for? Perhaps, maybe we've already seen the jungler here, the Barretts.
Yeah, I agree. So you still have like Paquito, and well, sometimes Blacklist International goes for Lapu Lapu, because this really looks like a good Lapu Lapu game against both Nathan as well as Yisun Shin.
Oh yeah.
Another option is that Clue, but it's probably not the priority. Yep. Again, Beatrix is still there. Go back to the Uranus. I think Onic PH can go back to Lunox. The difference, though, is that they don't have the best wave clear in the world against a potential snowball from Blacklist. This is Rafaela plus Barretts. They want to push and push and push. So now, if you're Onic PH, you're looking to answer either the tankiness of both Barretts as well as Lunox, or just answer the wave clear. Either way, they will have to choose only one.
My problem with the Lunox is it feels a little slow. Onic PH, they're going to have to use a huge chunk of the guiding winds to really position that Lunox. Or else, once, again, it might be the same story as Game 1 all over again, wherein they isolate one and then it all just crumbles. Let's see if they're going to fall for it. Instead, no. Is this what I think it is? I think is this mid-money? Is this mid-money?
Not entirely sure.
Paquito mid.
Hatred?
It's Paquito mid.
No, it's not. You're right. Is this a throwback to Season 8? Are they switching it up like that?
It's a throwback to Season 7, man, when Paquito was like used everywhere, right? As a roamer, but very interesting pickup here. I mean, technically, yes, it is going to be really good in that mid lane, getting some pressure done, and obviously, Farsa will be pressured constantly. But what we do need to look at from the side of Blacklist is that they don't have a reliable source of engage. They are really they're relying on Onic Philippines to dive them first, you know, going in for the Rafaela kiteback, going again for those prolonged fights, whereas for Onic PH, they also kind of strive in these long fights with the Yu Zhong, the Yisun Shin, and especially the Natan.
Yep, and if we're looking at Blacklist International, though, their lack of engage did not lose them the game in game number 1. Yep. They're actually masters of this, luring tactics where they bait out Onic PH. This time, though, after game 1, Onic PH, will they actually be forced into those kinds of situations? Will they be lured again by Blacklist International as we head into another pause?
An intermission before we go ahead and get into the map. Fellas, I'm not sure. I don't recall. Who was playing which? Was it confirmed?
Yes, it is. It has been confirmed. Hatred, the one on that Paquito. Very, very interesting. Once again, I agree with you. I'm just as confused as you, but we need to take a look at why possibly this might have happened. Going up against Blacklist International, the one thing that they lacked in that first game is that gap closer, all right? They didn't have anyone, technically not gap closer, but lockdown, all right? With Paquito, it adds both. You have the knockdown, you have the knockoff strike that can lock down these enemies in place, and that gap closer that you really, really need. And guess what? Onic Philippines, it's not like they're just changing their gameplay 100%. They also have that siege that they really want to go for. The Yisun Shin and the Natan is going to add so much to that banana split that we already know, especially that Mountain Shocker.
Yeah, I think Onic PH, they're playing on the same strengths they had from game number 1, but this time around,
they're refining it.
They're refining it and they're adding more elements that allow them to fight Blacklist on this more fluid team fight style. Yes, game 1, they were more sustained. They wanted to stay in a little longer, maybe last 2 or 3 more ults, but it's very fluid. So is this right? Am I reading this right, Wolf? That Onic wants to fight the same way?
Yeah, fight the same way, but in a different approach.
Yes.
Well, that actually is a no, if you think about it. But at the same time, it actually helps Onic PH to solve their problems on the go. So for the previous game, it was a one-off wherein if they don't control the early stages of the game, eventually snowball into the mid-game, they will not have any ways to solve their problems. It's just there, and they will have to wait for a mistake from Blacklist International. Whereas this time, it's true that they will engage with the same approach, but this time more solutions if ever something bad happens in the mid stages of the game. This time, we might see the classic banana split. In game number 1, they didn't have any options for that. They were so all in their strategies. It was their snowball and stash death ball kind of strategy, but this time, we see both marksmen and a lot of wave clear, a lot of engage potential as well. But then again, generally weaker in the early to the mid stage of the game, which means, my God, we're going to see the banana split once again.
Honestly, right now, the banana split is going to be a really, really good way to take those early turrets. And also for those neutral objective fights, it's actually going to be really good. Again, yeah, I really like the draft coming in from Onic Philippines, but now let's shift over to Blacklist, all right? Their composition is very much the ultimate bonding experience that we all have come to love and know. But again, it's refined. It feels like they can do much more than just that stick together kind of comp.
Yes, and in the early game, again, Onic has that problem now. But just like in game number 1, they might actually flip the script, and Onic might find more windows where Blacklist have to think on their feet. Because looking at their lineup, yes, there's a Farsa, yes, there's a Beatrix, but they're relatively dull, or there's not much teeth here in the first few minutes, right? You're looking at a Barats, you're looking at a Uranus. like they have to pick their fights.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just about the timing of when to pick those fights. Not just about the in-game timer, but with the items that they can have. Imagine if they do get like the Sky Helmet eventually, or the War Axe on this Barats, then combo it up with the Blade of Despair into the Malefic Roar or Hunter Strike from this or Demon Hunter Sword, I mean, for this Beatrix, they can tear through all of the turrets and just win the team fights and roll over Onic PH eventually. Then again, they don't have the hard engage. So we'll see. Honestly, the bigger problem that Onic PH will face now is wave clear. They do have wave clear, like Nathan as well as the Paquito, if you think about it, the Yisun Shin. But then again, they kind of have to just focus on those minions. They don't have mages like Farsa, Lilia, or the Eve to actually stop this slow push, slow siege from Blacklist.
Even on a marksman to marksman comparison, you have the Nathan versus Beatrix. Beatrix's ults, or even a switch up of a weapon, makes it so much easier. In comparison, Nathan still has to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah,
absolutely. But you know, I think it's not about the wave clear. I think it's more about the range, right? Because the Farsa, with the Farsa, technically what you can look for in the sieges is you're able to zone away these marksmen from hitting the minions, right? So it's not about just the pure wave clear. Because honestly, if I'm looking at both of the compositions, their wave clear, they're both equally good. One has more damage with the abilities, the other one goes for the old-fashioned way, like you mentioned, Leo. But it's all about that range. It's all about these dynamics from both of these matchups. The Farsa will definitely be a huge disability for the Yisun Shin and the Natan. But then again, they also have this Yuzong. This Yuzong that is going to be just such a nuisance once again for the Farsa. It's all going to come down to how they execute these pushes, these sieges, these everything in these team fights as well.
Yep, there's so much value eventually for this Farsa as the first pick for side of Blacklist International. It's a one-size-fits-all kind of hero. When it comes to the mid-lane choices, Farsa has been one of the top priorities for teams because it is a hero that normally doesn't get banned out, and it's actually, you know, it fits almost all of the strategies because of that wave clear, as well as the long-range vision that you get out, and there's also a stun. It's just really so much value for Blacklist International. To top it all off, Onic PH went for a double marksman setup, which, you know, Farsa loves to play in those kind of situations.
She just melts him. She just puts him down. But here we go. Wolf just explained exactly why Farsa is so important in the current metagame, as she was years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2, Blacklist International versus Onic PH. It is indeed going to be a mid-lane Paquito, and I feel like it's going to play the same role as a mid-lane Cho without the CC, but more of a re-engaged tool.
Let's see, again, Beloyski is going to be instantly in that top side towards Marky. I mean, this is technically what you need. Yeah, all right. Marky's picking up that gold buff, and happy feet.
Yep. You have to time it between the Renner Blast from Oheb, who is very, very good at doing that, stealing things from out of nowhere, from other people's noses. I'm wondering when Venus is going to do the same, when Venus is going to go help out. Actually, not just Haji here as well. It's a 3v1. Marky may have gone trapped, uses the flicker already, and the stun, and speeding him up, and there's the kill. First blood, brought to you by Razor, goes on over to Oheb.
Yeah, very overzealous there, very overextended for Marky. He knew that Beloyski was no longer there. Technically, if Beloyski was still there, they could have gone for something. But again, yeah, Beloyski has other things on his plate. He needs to be able to secure these positions and open up the map. And there you go, Kyrie going into the enemy jungle.
Yep. Well, that's what Weiss also did.
Here comes a swing back, level 4 Kyrie jumping in, Oheb looking low, flicker already used up, Hatred dashing in, takes a few hits, and they disengage.
Yep. Might be pressuring the mid lane as well, as look at this Uranus just being a problem against this Yu Zhong. It's actually, when it comes to the Yu Zhong versus the Uranus, what the Uranus can do is just to cut the waves and actually not engage against the Yu Zhong, and might win that fight because of that.
Oh, Black Dragon form used up by Dilarski already. Haji retreating. Turtle secured here by the STB with the help of Kyrie. And that's going to be one down Wise. Traded out for Beloyski. Fed an airstrike by Haji. Dilarski taking a few hits, and they go ahead and retreat. Huge trade though. Huge swings on the map.
Yeah, that's really good for the side of Blacklist International. Sure, Onic PH, they were able to steal away the turtle. Actually, now I'm confused. Because it's good for both of them, right? Kyrie getting the assist, getting that turtle, and also just scaling really well right now over than, you know, better than Wise at this point. If you can take a look at the items, he's already building towards, oh, wait a minute.
Venus taken down. You were saying Warax.
Yeah, all right. So he's already building towards that Warax. And again, for Eason Shin, this is one of the crucial items that you need to get early on to secure that. Those stacks are going to matter a lot, that movement speed. In the team fights, in the push, everything you do, it is going to rely on that right now. And Onic Philippines, they need to just keep on scaling until those item power spikes hit.
Yep, and which really makes me think that Onic PH will try to play this slowly. As long as they're keeping their turrets, they're fine. Make sure that the mid-lane turret will not be touched by Blacklist International. However, Blacklist International, they're just going to be waiting for their timing as well. Again, if there are 2 items available for OHEV, I'm assuming this will be the Demon Hunter Sword after the Blade of Despair. Combo that up with Haji's damage out from the Flank of Destiny and the Truncheon. The siege potential from Blacklist International, especially with 2 frontliners, it's going to be great. And Onic PH, they don't have the wave clear to stop that from happening.
And again, just in that moment earlier, this fight down here, it's a dance-off. It's 2 very chunky heroes going in mid, Haji alone, able to fight off 3 and clear the wave. That's how important the Farsa is in this game, and that's how great the wave clear is for Blacklist International at this current stage of the game. 4 minutes in. Onic PH, they want to set something up. They're blasting Haji from the bottom. Kairi, he still has his skateboard, his eponymous skateboard.
Yeah. I think he's waiting for his purple buff, and then the turtle will appear in 3 seconds. Edward most likely will just proxy the wave, just cut it out. Or maybe even join the fight. He's actually coming forward and might be joining the fight.
Watch out! They start with a Federal Airstrike. 4 men from Blacklist International set up for the second turtle. Mount Shankar, they know exactly where everyone is. Delarski coming in with the Black Dragon form, catches the Queen, circling Eagle, Aster, and back, and they catch so many bullets from OHEB. That's going to be 1 down. It's a trade, 2 for 1. Wise, be wise, traded for Delarski, and they're not done. They're not done. Marky tries to blast down Edward, and they disengage. So far, Onic PH able to get away scot-free.
Yeah, and not just that, they get the turtle, and now they're pushing in. Again, remember, Onic PH, they have this composition which is actually kind of weaker here in the early stages. Managing to get the lead is going to be insane. Just going even alone, or maybe even 1,000 gold behind, is going to be fine for them. But guess what? They are in the lead right now, picking up the good fights, and look at how they're playing these team fights. Perfection. The winning condition really shining through here for Onic.
And that's because of this Yu Zhang coming up from Delarski. He did die in the clash, but he would manage to find Wise as well as Oh My Venus, and then eventually shut down Haji from popping off that feathered airstrike, and now they are beating him indeed.
They're finding him, and it's a 2v1 in mid and in top. They've switched their lanes after the second turtle, and Kairi coming in, threatening a kill onto Edward. Same story, bottom lane, and off-camera kill. Down goes Boloyski, courtesy of Wise. Edward, he's okay, confident he's not going to die. Take that. Tier 1 up top.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with the tier 1 up top, it is going to set up for the next turtle. But Blacklist, they are looking for the trade. Marky getting sniped, and this is where he needs to recall. Nope, he cancels it. Wise and Venus.
He's sandwiched. It's too much to survive. Wise gets that, and they will convert directly into this tier 1.
Oh, let's see what happens here, though.
Oh, Detna's welcome. Get in my belly. Flicker already used up. Beloisi getting spotted here. Wise still stomping away. They retreat.
What a great pickoff coming up from Blacklist International. Because of the death of Baloyski in the mid lane, was no one to actually supply the vision for Onic PH to guard the side of Marky. And Blacklist International took full advantage of that.
Hatred so close to biting it. The huge range on this Federal Airstrike up top. Delarski still trying to take down Edward. It's Boloyski and Delarski. The Ski Brothers. Here comes the rest of Blacklist International. Circling Eagle. Black Dragon form. They answer back. OHEB with the passion. Blasting him with that SMG. And look at this Delarski. He's low. He's right in the middle of all of them. Taken down by the sniper. Point blank. Boloyski blasting away. Kairi secures a third turtle. Was that worth it? A body for the turtle.
At this point for Onic PH, that's okay as long as it's not Marky. Hatred.
Swing back, they answer. Edward puts a few stacks of the Ionic Edge. Marky to the rescue, cutting this team fight short.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's gonna be a good trade because of the fact that it's not Marky who's dying in these fights. As long as Marky as well as Kairi are okay, are getting all of these farm, it's okay. But then again, you have to be careful if you're Delarski. Maybe that's their last death. Eventually, Onic PH will rely on the tankiness of both Baloyski and Delarski. Both of them not having the best kind of tank ability, but that is the best that Onic PH can rely on in this game. Eventually, the lineup of Blacklist International can burst down these fighters, so you have to take note of not dying so that you'll get the farm for all those defensive items.
Oh, Wise already starting up with the Detona's welcome, cancels it. In goes Marky. That's going to be a forward entropy, and down goes Wise. Enough firepower to go for the counter engage as Haji puts up a defensive feathered airstrike. They're not done though. The Queen says we can take this. The Queen says we can try to take this, and they're gonna go ahead and defend bottom lane. Oh, Kyrie gonna get sandwiched, and he's gonna use a passive crits onto the Filipino sniper. 2 free kills plus a turret down bottom. Onic PH back on the map.
Like we said in the draft, it is this Yu Zhong that's just been crucial in these team fights. Look at the timing that Delarski is able to use that Black Dragon form. He didn't do it initially. He waited up until Farsa was in position, then he pops it. That's where Haji, he just can't go for that feathered airstrike anymore. Now with the Lightning Truncheon build, he will do a significant more damage, but the thing is, when are you going to use that ultimate? You have to have that perfect timing and the perfect positioning. That's not going to happen, man. Delarski is just so on point with this Black Dragon form, and they're already using those pushes, those sieges, utilizing the Natan and that Isun Shin.
Watch out for the map. It's a little bit of a split push for Onic PH as they want to use Hatred on the mid lane role to show the middle lanes up top.
Oh, it's a full-on engage as Delarski has to use the Black Dragon form on a defensive way, and he's taken up by Wise on the retreat. No punish at all on the side of Onic PH as Baloyski gets stunned and still survives. Uses that flicker at the nick of time. But Lord here taken down to almost half health. Here comes Hatred. Walks into a 4-man, a 3-man. He's dashing around. Mountain Shocker. Kyrie trying to keep his mid laner alive. Feathered airstrike set in. Hatred from the north takes him down. Traded for his own life. It's a messy team fight for Blacklist and Onic. Neither want to give up this Lord.
Well played by Onic Philippines. That should have been them losing every single time with Delarski dead. But look at the way they're able to just save time, get some time on the board for Delarski to spawn back. Sure, that was Hatred picked up, but it's a mid lane for the mid lane. Now with Delarski here, it is going to be much, much better for the side of Onic PH.
Oh man, this is crazy as Delarski really just relies on this Yu Zhong ultimate to really mess up with against Blacklist International. And then, of course, Hatred sniping Haji. Was it worth it? Because they still lost one hero for that. So 1-for-1 trade-off. I guess the answer is yes, because at least they stopped the Lord take from Blacklist International. But you have to be very careful about Onic PH. Blacklist International is a team that really punishes those trades. When the trades look favorable for Onic PH, it seems like Blacklist International just finding ways to even up the trade or even just one-up Onic PH because of their small movements in the game. For example, really just poking this Delarski Yu Zhong to the point where he's forced to use the ultimate.
Now let's take a look at the items here with Kyrie building up already the BOD, alright? This is where he is going to be so powerful. Maybe next item is going to be the Melfic Roar or the DHS. Yeah, it's going to be either one, alright? It's preference for the side of Onic PH.
Oh, starting it up with a feathered airstrike.
Not good.
Not good. I mean, it was used for vision. They do have that. They need that to be able to open up the map. And Haji spotted by Marky. That's a lot of damage, but Baloyski will not fully commit. Maybe once bitten, twice shy, Baloyski.
Yeah. There was a time where Marky is called the bad boy by Mr. Manjin himself, and that is the reason why.
Here we go. Circling Eagle plus the Black Dragon form Lord at about a fifth of its health. Wise Detona's welcome. Answers back. Kyrie gets blasted with the feathered airstrike. That's the Lord secured by the Queen. There's a knockup. 3 down for the side of Onic PH. Blacklist International punishes the micro mistakes as Baloyski bites it. Edward takes his head. It's only one left. It's just Hatred.
A huge mistake for Onic PH. Not just the timing of that fight, but look at the members. Hatred was nowhere near that Lord, and they still forced it out. That was them getting overzealous, greedy, and Blacklist will completely just punish them.
Oh my god, it's not an enhanced Lord, but there's no wave clear. Again, the problem for Onic PH,
they can end.
They don't have the wave clear. They have Marky this time.
Hatred catches way too much via the feather airstrike and the Nibiru's passion. Mountain Shocker, the help clear the waves and push back Blacklist. It's not gonna end. Not here.
That is going to be so bad for Onic PH, man. They've lost that inhibitor turret in the mid lane. Remember, the side lanes are bad, but that mid lane is going to be bad, even worse here, as they're just, wait, they might just go in for the push.
They're not letting go. Look at where Edward is. He's putting so many stacks on the people. Feathered airstrike one more time. Beloski caught out of home. There's the Tona's welcome. Get in my belly and down under the ground. Wise takes him, as well as the inhibitor turret down bottom. Top lane going to be next up on the docket for Blacklist International. They are calculated. They are taking down these turrets surgically precise. There's another feathered airstrike.